Hi. I don't normally do this, but I wanted to post a video so I could just explain something without doing a whole lot of typing. So I went to a small pet store today, and I had a very weird, disheartening conversation with the owner of the pet store, and I was just there. I like to use CBD and some different supplements with my own dogs, and when I have a foster who sometimes needs something, I like to try that route first. A lot of dogs just need something to help calm them a little bit, especially the fosters and coming from animal control. I like the CBD and some supplements so they can still focus and learn and be coherent, rather than some vets like to prescribe some pretty heavy duty meds to deal with things like anxiety. And in my experience with that, it tends to dope up the dog. We all know how it is when we're on narcotics or something, and we don't feel like ourselves. It's sometimes makes us sleepy, disoriented. Our brain is not in a learning mode. We're unable to concentrate and learn effectively and efficiently that way. So I like to use these products just as a tool. I like to have it in my toolkit. If a dog needs it, I use it. Like I said, I use them on my own dogs, and I've had great success. You guys all know Gracie and her leg troubles with her infection and her joints and all that. And she used to have to be on carprofen for an anti-inflammatory to help her with that pain and inflammation. And I put her on some CBD oil. And after a while, we were able to take her off the carprofen, which is known to cause issues, liver and kidney, and it's not suitable for long-term use. So that's why we switched her. She does great. You've seen her. She runs, she digs. She's pain-free. So also with Mac, as you guys know, he has a lot of anxiety. It's very severe. He's been on what's called L-theanine. It's a supplement. We produce it naturally in our bodies, so do dogs. Some just don't have enough. It helps him to be a little calmer. He's also on a CBD. And we started high, and then slowly we've been able to back up. And he's so happy. He's the first one in the pack to greet us now. He's doing so much better, and it's better for him. Whereas before, just to bring him to the vet, they were giving me very strong medications to basically try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Sedation. They were trying to sedate him. Even on that, he couldn't walk as well. You could tell his brain wasn't there. He was still being muzzled. He was still trying to snap at the vets. He was more frightened because he could not function properly in his own body. And that was not fair to him. Now, these products have worked well for me, and I started using these products upon discussions, research, and when I finally started going to a pet store who sold these products and was able to have a conversation, very deep and multiple conversations over the past few years with an employee there. it was trial and error. We finally found a combo that's working for both my dogs. And at times, I will use these with foster dogs. You guys have seen my dogs who I foster. I am very open and honest with their behavior, where they're coming from, what they're going through, what I'm trying. And then, of course, you see when they're adopted, and, you know, it's so great. I've never had anyone returned. It's been a wonderful experience. So, what happened today when I went, I was hoping for the employee who I typically see, who's there all the time, to be there so that we could have a little conversation just to make sure, you know, Moo has some issues that we've talked about. And I currently have Nardo here, who is hanging out with me. And if you follow my fostering journey and the places that I foster for, it's been a few, but you know who I'm with, what I'm doing. And so, you know, he's having some issues with some anxiety and self-confidence issues. So, as always, I'm using my dogs and my other dogs, sorry, Nardo is pushing me, to help teach, which is great. Dayton has come so far. He's doing so good. But Moo and Nardo both needed just something a little extra. And I started them on the CBD and the L-theanine that I was giving Mac. It's a great combo for him. They are not as severe, in my opinion. I am not a doctor or a professional, but all these dogs see the vet. So I decided to go that route. Moo's only getting L-theanine, just a supplement to kind of help calm him a little bit. He's just a little overexcitable with affection and touch, and he's just going through a process of learning what is appropriate behavior for him when it comes to human interaction. Now, with Nardo, he lacks self-confidence, and so I've been giving him the same combo as Mac. Now, these are very expensive products, and I do pay for them out of my own pocket. That's why when you guys see me say that I pet sit to help offset my cost for my transporting and my fostering, that's what I mean. Because they do pay for their vet visits and, you know, food and everything they need. But I do things out of pocket to try to go the extra mile. So Nardo was given, I'm going to forget the name, trazodone or tramadol. I get them confused all the time. So it is a medication that vets use to treat the symptoms of anxiety, is what I'm going to say as an explanation. Now, this does not stop anxiety. It does not cure anxiety. It does not address what is causing the anxiety. There are some dogs who that's just life for them, and they need to be treated with heavy medication. There are other dogs who just have been through different experiences and don't quite know what to do, how to do it. We call it crate training because being in a crate needs to be trained. Being alone needs to be trained. But also, dogs need to know how to self-soothe themselves, just like a person, a baby, an adult. A lot of them lick. A lot of them will chew on something. Some dogs, since they don't know how to do that and have a problem regulating their own emotion in that way, will come to humans. You might call it they love to snuggle, or that they're clingy. It's called a lot of stuff. Now, some dogs, yes, they love to snuggle. There are other dogs who, because they can't regulate themselves, need to be touching you. They can't lay down without touching you in some way. Nardo is that way. Now, also, I started him on the supplement and the CBD. I'm having success. My 1 hour turned into 3 hours for physical therapy the other day. He had to be in a crate. He was crated in the foster room. The other two, Dayton and Moo, were also crated. He was having issues. I've been doing short, like 10, 15 minute stints with him in his crate. The other dog's crated so he could see lots of stuffed Kongs, lick mats, things for him to do and chew on and lick. I play what's called brown noise on Alexa to help drown out outside noise. I have a fan going 24/7 in the room. So I try different techniques with the dogs to help them settle. Now, he does cry when he goes in the crate. If I'm sitting in the room, he'll settle down. He'll cry if the other dogs are out of their crate, but then he'll settle down and watch them. He's watching, he's learning, and I need him to be coherent for that. So, that is why I have chosen not to give him the medication, because I want him to be cognizant of what is happening, what the other dogs are doing, the fact that I'm leaving, I'm coming back, all these things. So my appointment the other day, I was panicked coming home. He's in an indestructible crate. I knew he was in the crate and safe. I don't want a dog to feel panicked. I don't want him to have that emotional distress. When I came home, I was so happy to see through the window. He was laying down and sound asleep in his crate. I cannot say what happened while I was gone and not here. However, he had licked his toys, peanut butter, coconut oil, salmon oil. The other two dogs were snoring as well. I walked in calmly. He sat up. I let him out, and we went about our time. Now, that was an exception, and I don't like leaving for that long. It was unintentional. So I build up time using these tools. So, on to today. When I went to the pet store, I was hoping to see the employee that I always discuss things with. I wanted to make sure and get her opinion on the dosage I'm giving, how often I'm giving. I'm seeing success. Should we try something, a lower dose? Just those kinds of things. And since the owner was there and not the typical employee, I thought awesome, because this is the person who opened this store, runs this store, believes in what they're selling. So I had to give some background, because the other employee who I see every 1 or 2 weeks, she knows it's an ongoing process. So I'm trying to fill in someone new on what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and if there was any additional things I should add, any changes I should make. I seek professional opinion. because I respect those in the industry who should be quite knowledgeable and willing to help. Now, this is where things got a little strange and disheartening and condescending. I was told that these dogs have to be medicated on strong prescription drugs, that I will never find anyone to adopt them, and dogs like them won't get adopted and will never heal. I'm just changing the words probably, but this is what I was hearing. And I was very upset by this. Obviously, this person doesn't know me personally or what I do, how many fosters I've had. I tried to be very respectful and just say, what I'm trying to do differently to help heal the dog, to find the cause. And if it is not something that was bred into the dog, but something that happened to the dog that caused these anxiety issues or over-arousal issues, I like to use natural products and training and comfort and life experience with other dogs who are better in these areas, so that these dogs can see what is appropriate, what is, I don't want to say good behavior, but how it can be, that it doesn't have to be scary, that I'm always coming back. There are always wonderful things happening in my care, and even when I'm away, they can rest and be comfortable in knowing they are taken care of. To have someone tell me in a condescending voice that I need a miracle or I must be a miracle worker to think that these dogs can be effectively healed and transitioned into a family life was the most absurd thing I have heard, especially from someone who is selling products to do that. Enrichment toys, natural chews, food that is not ultra processed, which can cause a lot of health issues for dogs. So this conversation, I felt berated. I felt stupid for asking, for trying to have a discussion. It was a strange moment where I wanted to cry because I felt like this person was telling me these dogs don't deserve the work and effort and cost that is being put into them. That is not true, and we know that is not true. We are working with dogs who are sometimes misunderstood. You guys remember Odin? He was drugged because 2 weeks of being in a kennel at animal control was too much for him, and people were afraid of him because he was big and he was thrashing in a kennel and eating plastic bowls and slamming metal water bowls against the gate. And I went and got him and fostered him, and it took 8 months. And I didn't even have to use supplements on him. He just needed time. He just was picked off the street and thrown into animal control with about a bunch of loud dogs. A chaotic environment that his soul could not rest in, and he wanted out. He'd never hurt anyone. There was no reason for anyone to fear him. And you guys have all seen the videos in the pictures, and we all know how Odin turned out. Now, this is something that I have done with multiple dogs, and many of whom I never have to give a supplement to at all. They just need the time and the patience and other dogs to show them how they can behave and how they can find comfort in a different environment. So this conversation that was had, I did explain that this is the way I start. These are the tools I use. And to look at my account, because over the years, I spend anywhere from $200 to over $600 in a month at this store. That's a lot. But I believe in products that I'm buying. I believe in the employee who has, helped me, guided me, listened to me, never met any of my questions as if they were ridiculous or been condescending. She has been wonderful and helpful, and it's trial and error, and every animal is different. Even today, I had to buy a different flavored cat food because the girls decided they no longer liked turkey cat food. That's fine, it happens. But I am very saddened by the conversation that was had, the way I was treated by this owner, who I would think would respect the customers who are coming in looking for advice, who believe in the products that are being sold in the store. I was expecting so much better, so much more. But even if it is her belief that these things will not help, perhaps don't be condescending. Don't make it sound like there's not a way to heal these souls, because there is. And between my transporting, my fostering, you guys have seen over 28 plus. I don't even know where my number is right now between fosters and transports and puppy pickups. Some are only with me a matter of hours. Some are with me 8 to 10 months. Some have not left, and that's because they were deemed unadoptable by someone who just wasn't willing to give them more than 5 minutes of throwing treats at them. And since they were still barking and growling, that meant they can never be loved, which was my Mac, and you guys know that. And I understand he does not do well with strangers, and I understand he has to be muzzled to meet someone. And after 5 minutes, the muzzle comes off, and he thinks that that is his new best friend, and that he's known them forever. It is fear. These dogs have been traumatized. These dogs, some of them, it's not bred in them. They were not born this way. They were made this way by humankind. You guys know my passion. You know how I feel about these things. And I am very saddened by this pet store owner's response to me today. And when she told me she looks forward to me proving her wrong. I've already proved you wrong. I've already done that. You might not know it, but I know it. the places that I have fostered for, or who trust me and ask me to foster for them, even though I didn't come to them. You know, it's sad. And when I explained how these products are helping my own two dogs, Mac and Gracie, her tune changed a little about how wonderful CBD oil is and how it's so sad that, you know, more rescues don't do it that way. And, you know, for rescues, it's cost. Let's be honest. Rescues would love to do better and do more. And, you know, food. We can't afford good food. There's a lot of problems with what rescues and shelters can afford and what people who donate to them can afford. And that's fine. And as a foster, I make decisions based on my knowledge and what the dogs need. And I can't afford to buy them food anymore. So I have been at the mercy, and I feed what I have to, but I supplement. There is salmon oil. There's coconut oil. Treats. I do single ingredient treats that are healthy and that are going to help promote a healthier, better life for these dogs. That is my choice. Rob and I fund that ourselves. And when I am laughed at by anyone and told that I'm making these dogs bougie, which I will make that joke, there's many treats that they will not eat after being with me. But when their adopters are told what I am feeding and what I am giving them, 9 times out of 10 they go out and they get those products because they want to continue the health of that animal who I have put so much into, and they understand. People understand certain dogs can't have chickens. Certain dogs can't have grains. It causes them stomach issues. Bully breeds are very much known. If they're going to have an allergy, it's going to be to grains and it's going to be to chicken. I just try to circumvent that, and I just don't want to introduce it in the first place when I can do that. So this interaction was sad to me, and I wanted to share it because I have a lot of friends who have pets doing the best they can. I have a lot of friends in rescue who are doing the best they can. We are trying to save those who can be saved. You don't know who can be saved and how you can save them until you're in the trenches doing it. And that was what I explained today. If one of the dogs in my care needed to be on medication to sedate them so that I could leave my home for an hour, I would do that. That is not my experience. My experience is every dog is different. They all need something different. The causes can be something different. It is not necessarily just who they are. Sometimes they just don't know better, haven't seen better, haven't been treated better, haven't been given the time and patience to learn it, to see it, to feel it. So much with dogs and what I do is about energy. So much about behavior is about the energy within the dog and with the humans and other dogs around them. I struggle to find where I fit in the dog world, and I know that. I'm bouncing around a little bit, and I'm helping different places, and I have a passion, I have a knowledge, I've been doing research for years and implementing things that I learn in an approach that anyone can do and replicate. And that's what I'm doing. And I don't care who I'm fostering for or where I am in life. This is my passion, and I try to pride myself on learning what I can to help heal them. And in that, they heal me too. So selfishly, in some ways, what I'm doing is for myself, yes. But I believe that these guys deserve the chance. And I don't believe that any dog is not adoptable to someone. And I don't believe any dog wants to feel the stress, the anxiety, the trauma, the unsureness that is and has been their own life. I know this is long, probably not to the point, and I was a lot more angry when I got out of the store, because someone in that position, I think, should also be a little more educated, empathetic, know your client base, know where your money's coming from, how your products are being used, what they are being used for. You know what? I do know not every dog can be saved. I've lost one, Brownie, a couple years ago. Not even a couple years ago. It was a little over a year ago. He had been mistreated since he was an 8-week-old puppy, and abused and neglected and who knows what else. And mentally, he was no longer okay. He could not live life in his condition. No amount of supplements, CBD, no amounts of prescription medication could help him. And we tried. And I laid on the floor with him in a vet office while they put him to sleep. And I hugged him and I cried. But I knew. And you know, in these cases, when you're around them enough, you know who you have to let go and who to say goodbye to. Because it's what they need for peace. Because no peace was ever going to come to poor Brownie. And I held a lot of guilt for a long time with that. Rob still hurts from that. Because when you watch the transitions, when you watch these dogs open up and find comfort and love and be able to love and trust humans again, it's the most magical thing. And maybe this owner's right. Maybe we are miracle workers. I would never say that, but that's just a different story in my own personal belief in life. But I believe, just like people can heal and change and learn, so can these animals. And if it's possible, and when it's possible, when it is safe to do so for them and for us, we owe it to them because they didn't choose to feel this way. They didn't choose to be treated this way. They didn't choose to be abused, neglected, starved, fought, bred, and overbred, and tossed aside. They didn't choose to feel anxious in their own body. We don't either. We don't go around saying that we don't deserve love. Humans don't deserve love because they feel anxious or depressed, bipolar. Sorry, I'm not sure the correct term now. Autistic, ADHD. There are so many of these things that, humans are not the only mammals who struggle with mental and emotional health. They're not the only ones who are abused and neglected. We are the only ones who can help. I think that's the big takeaway right there. Is help. And when Nardo here gets to where he's already on a path to. So when I got home today from the pet store, gone 45 minutes, all 3 dogs were just sleeping in their crates. He heard the gate and he sat up and he looked out the window of the door because he could see me, and he just sat there waiting for me to come in because it's progress, because he's learning, because he's not over medicated with something that shuts his brain off. Just think about that. That's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. I will have to rethink if I will continue purchasing my products from an establishment where the actual owner doesn't exactly believe in her own products that she is making a lot of money off of. Shouldn't say that. I would not know what profit she is making. I do know that I buy quality products from them. Quality products cost money. And I know that. And I will continue doing that on my own for my dogs and any animal that comes through my house that needs help. That is always my first, I can't say my first tool. Learning, watching them, feeling their feelings, and seeing their reactions to things, and giving them the enrichment that they need. Those are always first. And then, if they need a little extra to help them. I'm on antidepressants, by the way. I'm also currently on steroids because of my injury. There is help for things out there. We don't have to automatically think a dog cannot be cured or saved, that they don't deserve to be. We don't always have to go rushing in with the strongest, heavily sedating medication we can find. We can start slow. We can adjust. And if it is necessary for the safety and well-being of an animal, you go that extra mile. But these dogs, rest assured, they are loving beings. and they deserve a chance at having a family. They are living in my home with my family. They are meeting my child, his friends, my cat. Everyone is safe and loved and happy. And I will continue on this path regardless where I shop, who believes in me and what I'm doing, and who I'm doing it with and for. Just some things to think about today. Thank you. I know you're probably laughing at my video now, but I really feel passionate about it, and I wanted to share my thoughts and my experience. Thank you.